Welcome everyone. So I am your favorite physics teacher, ESR, a teacher by choice, not by chance. So let's take another popular misconception. So the question is, we have a beaker containing water. The beaker is completely filled with water. So this is the maximum height of the beaker and this is completely filled with liquid. So this dotted line, it indicates the level of the liquid in the beaker. And an ice cube is floating in this liquid, in this water. So that ice cube, I have shown it by this blue color cuboidal box, right? So the question is, if this ice cube melts completely and becomes water, then what will happen to the level of the liquid in the container? Will the level of liquid rise, so water has to overflow and come out of the beaker, or will the level of the liquid go down in the container? What will happen to the level of the liquid? So we will be doing detailed analysis, and mathematically we will be calculating what will happen, whether it will increase or decrease, or the level of the liquid will remain same. So although many of you might be knowing the answer, here the answer is the level of the liquid will neither increase nor decrease. It will remain same. But sometimes they may change the question. So instead of having ice floating in water, you may have ice floating in some other liquid. So how to solve such kind of questions even when the data is changed? So for that we need this detailed calculation. So I got this question from one of my students, Krishna is following. So let's continue this now. So here let me introduce first the terms. Here the beaker is filled with water, and rho W is the density of water. The ice cube is floating in it, and rho ice is the density of the ice. Generally, the value of raw water, it is 1 gram per cc. So we will be using these values. And the value of raw ice, it is 0.9 gram per cc. Cc means cubic centimeter. Okay. Now the total volume of the ice I have denoted by the letter V, and the volume of the ice which is inside, I am denoting it with V in. So how to compare what will happen to the level of the liquid? So you should first calculate how much of ice is inside the water or inside the liquid. That means first we should calculate how much is the value of V in, right? Then we should calculate after this ice melts how much water it forms. So we should calculate how much volume of water formed. Volume of water formed. So now the ice is occupying this much amount of space inside the given liquid. After this ice melts, how much of amount of water it will form? Now, if the amount of water formed after ice melts, if that is greater than this much volume, then of course that formed water, it will occupy that much volume, as well as it will try to take some other space above that. So the liquid of the in that case the liquid has to overflow, the water has to overflow. But if the volume of the water formed is exactly equal to this V in, then the water formed, it will just take that much space. It will just take up that much amount of space. In that case, there is no more water remaining to overflow, right? And it exactly occupied the initial volume of space taken by the ice, so the level of liquid will neither rise nor decrease. But if the volume of water formed after ice melts is less than this much volume, is less than this much, no? Less than this much volume, then it will take some space within that much, and then there will be some gap. So the water level or whatever is the liquid, that liquid level has to come down because it will overflow to fill that space, isn't it? That means basically we have got here three conditions by comparing this V in and the volume of water formed. What are the three conditions? If this volume of water formed is equal to the volume occupied by the ice now, V in, this is case 1. If this is the case, level will level will remain unchanged. Remain unchanged. Second guess, if this volume of water formed, if it is greater than this V in, then the liquid will overflow. Then liquid will overflow. Or if let's say the container is a bigger one, if the container is a bigger one, or if the liquid is not up to that maximum height of that beaker, then it won't overflow, but it will increase, right? So in this case, we can tell that the level will increase. Level will increase. And if the volume of water formed is less than V in, then level will decrease. The level of the liquid in the container will decrease. So now let's find out this V water formed. How much water is formed after the ice melts, right? Okay, so let me do the calculations. Hope all of you have written this. Now I need some space to do further calculations, so I am erasing this. Now let me calculate the volume of water formed after the ice melts, and let me also find out the volume in. Now from law of rotation, you might have come across this formula. I'm using just this as a shortcut. V in, volume of the body inside or submerged by total volume, equal to rho of the solid by rho of the liquid. Try to remember this formula. This comes from law of rotation. So if we go deep into this, then maybe we have to make another video. I suppose that you already know this formula. So volume of the body which is floating, some body is floating in a liquid, then volume inside by total volume equal to rho solid by rho liquid. So V in by total volume equal to rho solid by rho liquid. So in this case, V in by V becomes 0.9 by 1. So this becomes V in equal to 0.9 V. So how much volume of the ice is inside liquid? It is 0.9 of total volume of the ice. Okay, now let me find out volume of the water formed. So let me calculate here volume of water formed. Volume of water formed. So this ice only will melt to become water. So when ice melts to become water, so ice becomes water. So the density changes, the volume changes, isn't it? Density, ice changes to water, ice melts to water. So initially it was ice, density was different. Finally it becomes water, density is different. Initially it is ice, volume is different. Later it becomes water, volume becomes different, but mass remains same. So let's use the formula. Mass of the ice which melts is equal to mass of the water which formed. Now what is the mass of ice? Mass is density to volume. Mass is, so this is rho ice into volume ice equal to, this is rho water into volume of water formed. Hope this is clear. This is clear. So from here I can find out volume of water formed. So how much is volume of water formed? It is rho ice by rho water into V. Achha, now what is the value of rho ice by rho water? It is 0.9 by 1. It is 0.9 by 1. So even from here, the next line I am writing here. So volume of water formed equal to, this comes out to be 0.9 V only. So now the density of ice and the water, the density of ice and the density of water, the values are such that it comes out to be equal. The volume of water formed after the ice melts comes out to be equal to the volume of ice which was inside the liquid, not total volume. So what has happened to the total volume of ice? It has decreased. Initially the total volume of ice was this much. Now after it melts and becomes ice, the water formed is this much. So has the volume decreased when ice becomes water? Yes, but it is equal to the volume of ice which was present inside liquid. So initially ice was taking up this much volume inside liquid, and when ice becomes water, its volume becomes exactly that much. So that water formed just fills that much space, right? Here are the calculations. The volume of water formed is 0.9 V, and the volume of the ice which is inside is again 0.9 V, right? So when this ice melts, it becomes how much amount of water? Water equal to this much volume only. So the new formed water fills this exact space. So now the level of the liquid in the container will neither increase nor decrease. So the solution or the answer is the volume of or the level of the liquid in the container will neither increase nor decrease, it will remain same, isn't it? But there is a difference. Initially, you see, the container was looking like this. It was completely filled with water, and some part of ice is above that level. Finally, the beaker it is completely filled with liquid water, but there is nothing like uh, above the level of the water. So this is how the level looks like. So if you are thinking of the total volume, then certainly total volume has decreased. But if you are considering about what has happened to the level of liquid, then there is no change. Now, even when you get questions where ice is floating in some oil, ice is floating in kerosene, ice is floating in coconut oil, then you should follow this same process and you should compare these two terms, V in and V water formed. And you have to do exactly these calculations and you have to check these values, which is higher. Hope this satisfies you. Thank you so much.